So I guess we can answer some chat questions till the next round. As Gensei asked if you're still which version of 3ds Max you're using in-house, and if that's something you can talk about.
Honestly, we are currently switching to Blender because Blender is free to use. That's the first thing that motivates us for switching from 3ds to Blender. And if you ask me about the precise version of 3ds we used and we are currently using, because switching from a software to another one is a time-consuming process. I honestly cannot answer you because I don't know the answer. I don't use 3ds Max in my day-to-day job.
Okay, yeah, because in Steel Division we had some mods where people were able to convert to bring in new models, but they had to use the same version that you guys used for Steel Division, which is a relatively rare version of 3DS
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Steel
yeah.
Division.
That's game development, and that kind of issue happened a lot of time, and they are sometimes kind of understandable. Sometimes they aren't, and they are just like poorly designed features. I don't know how it will be
But
done in WARNO, but we will sure communicate you the exact version you need of civil software to do it properly.
but yeah, with Blender, I guess getting mods that are conformative with the game should be a lot easier. So that's great to hear.
Yes,
If that
that's absolutely what we are aiming for. It is easier in namely a maintenance way of thinking WARNO for when WARNO will be officially launched and when WARNO will acquire some DLCs, for instance. Blender will be a really useful tool in our processes in order to produce more, produce better, and produce faster. So yeah, Blender is a little revolution internally at Fusion System.
that's nice to hear. Yeah. So yeah, you're same for maps, right? Like maps internally are also easier to manage than in Steel Division. That's
Indeed, they are. I can say they are. I've worked on Oabal right, like this morning and this afternoon. It is like viewing the past, when we see the progress we've done in Wano and when we then switch to the production of an SD2 map, it really isn't like the same way of doing anything, even like just popping a 3D object or doing some landscape work. It doesn't work the same, and Wano is way better in the map management as a global tool and in map construction as micro tools. It is better in every way, and that's really something which is really important. I think we never talk enough about tools, but better tools make better games. That's as simple as that. And so our team, like namely, I don't know their pseudonyms. I don't remember them, but
Panzer and Co. Yeah.
yeah, we really have a team that is working on tools day to day and that are really enhancing all of our processes, namely in level building. That's why you have more maps, more regularly. You have maps. You have also better maps um, that can be also prettier maps. That's something that is all
Also,
due to the I don't know say the better tool we have internally
and
than
also,
we than what we
once
had at
there is a
UC.
map that has a problem, the problem can be fixed, like on Gesa or hopefully at some point Black Forest.
Yeah, yeah. Black Forest is being worked on. I've worked on Black Forest. One of the work I've done in Black Forest internally, especially internally, it is actually on the QA side of Eugen system. I've chopped a lot of forests, and I've tried to give Black Forest how to say it, a new smile by adding some some buildings on it, namely on its huge forest on the center that you really know, on the broccoli forest, in fact, which will feature a sawmill. So that will be, I think, uh, a really cool map. I've tried to reproduce something I've done with chemical and the chemical plant zone. So, but instead this time on Black Forest it will be a sawmill zone. So I hope you liked it. And this is in work in progress. I don't know exactly when we will be able to deliver this, but we are hard working on this. That's for sure.
Yes. So the first semifinal is about to set up. Um, I will just make sure that spectator mode is on, so that we.
Yeah, that could be better.
Yeah. So yeah. Uh, to explain it to everyone, the format of the tournament, I guess, is it's a 8 teams elimination tournament because we didn't do that at the beginning. Everyone picks their teams. It's like my inspiration for it is Magic the Gathering, Friday Night Magic. That's where you also could see the name from. You pick your deck, you go to the event, you have 3 hours of fun, and yeah, just nice chatter. And you pick your deck, no big setup, just play round for round with the decks you picked at the beginning. So yeah, sadly we got eliminated, but that means we can now actually have a nice look from the sideline and maybe talk a bit more and not sweat as much. Uh, so yeah, course reported here, and
The Protosticker closed it.
yeah, set Tunguska and okay, all games seems to be have been played in round one, so everyone showed up, all was smooth, always nice on the tournament organizers end. Thanks to everyone for showing up. Yeah, hope you all having fun and yeah, the Mutant Dev I'm talking to right now is Sir Tatastical. Oh god, I'm always butchering that name.
Yeah, I choose especially this name to confuse everyone who is trying to pronounce it in English. So I'm kind of evil on this one. Yeah. So in a French way, you say it Sir Tatastico le Margolin, but in an English way, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce it. So let's go for Tatasticot. That will be great, and that will work. Or
For
if
everyone
you don't like it, you can call it by my name and just call me Theo, and it will be right.
and yeah, for everyone who joined us later, he's part of the map maker team, and yeah. Yeah, that sounds like something Lolly would do. One of our
Yeah.
French strike team and SDL members.
French is a so weird language to pronounce and to write. So that's really funny, just like bothering people with that.
Spectra, what is a telestrator?
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't understand this.
I don't quite get what you mean with telestrator. Mm. Ah, yeah.
Ah,
Well,
okay.
just like in Total War, it could be used or abused for specific paintings on the map. Like, so I don't. Yeah, I guess it could be a nice tool. The question is, do you trust the Eugen community with such a tool?
That's exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, I'm totally behind Protoss on this one.
Mm. Like, yeah, I think the ping system is nice. They could be maybe a bit more visual on the minimap, but
Yeah, we are working currently on the minimap, and the minimap is ongoing from from what you know to what it will be. That is to say, a better minimap showcasing better the relief of a map and better the objectives and several pings you can use. So this is a work in progress job internally.
So it seems like we have all packed round two, as we had when it comes to teams, and we only had 2 NATO teams out of the 8 teams this time around, and sadly both of them have been eliminated. As the British currently, yeah, they are in need of buffs, and the buffs sadly didn't arrive in time. I think the Wasta and Javosta really hoped for Eugen breaking their Friday patch rule, but it sadly didn't happen. So yeah, we have all the semifinals now coming up, with the teams being Sad Tunguska versus the challenged ones, and Mishka versus the Warriors. Where I'm surprised, because Channel 4 news team, that's Graham and Nilla, 2 veterans of the Eugen community. So that must have been a interesting game. Yeah, being taken out by, I'm always forgetting the names, Jane Spruce and forgot the other player's name, but that is for sure some interesting stuff. Do we have the next game going on? Not quite yet. Okay. Really want to make sure that we have a semifinal to cast, so I will ask. Uh, okay. That we have a spectator mode on. ST build preview this weekend? No, sadly. There is progress in the strike team build as well, as everyone who has SteamDB can see. It's not that easy to keep those things hidden, I guess. But we're sadly not allowed to show it. It's still, there's a lot of work. Yeah, but we don't quite have as much to. We don't. It's not quite in the show. The embargo hasn't fallen on it yet. So when it comes to divisions, which one is your favorite there?
Honestly, I have had a great time with. I cannot remember the name. Let me just open my battle groups. I've had a great time with the classical third armored recently, and the 8th infantry was really good to play also. And if we speak about the USSR, I think, yeah, the 39 Motostrike div was really a huge of fun. When we speak about infantry, I'm in. So yeah, I'm going for those three divisions that I really like.
Okay.
For their infantry, their tanks. I also like tanks, but I'm not quite as into it as I'm in infantry. I'm an artillery spammer, so if you have a little
Yeah.
bit of artillery, I'm in.
So I guess KDA could be down your alley as well with their big.
Yeah, that's it.
They're really big.
And
Malka.
because I hate planes, as we could have seen on the first game, I'm also like when we have a
Oh,
good AA and a really lot of AA.
so yeah, KDA's books. Yeah. Then I guess KDA might be really down your alley as well. You need a new
I
deck.
don't really have how to say it. Quite good KDAs. No, that's not my specialty. Uh, I can do command points. That's my job, and I can most of the time afford it. But when we speak about KDA, no, I'm going for yeah. You know your lives well. Spend them on the battlefield, and hopefully you'll come back to the house. But I'm not sure of that.
But yeah, that's what you do with KDA. Okay, so the semifinals between Warriors, and Mishka is up. So I
Okay,
guess
I'm going to
it's
spectate it.
time to jump in there. It's on. The map number 2 is Foggy River? No. What? I always forget the name of this map. Let me.
This is Mount River.
Mount River. Yeah. It always stuck as foggy something because it has that light fog
Yeah, and
texture.
I really love this visual effect. It is, in fact, what we might not know, and we are not into game development, is that this fog is not only, in my opinion, beautiful. It is also really useful because this map has several different heights. This fog really helps your eye seeing on which height you are on, and this is a useful tool when you play a typical WARNO game. Knowing that you are above your adversary is a useful information, and this is an efficient way of giving this information.
That was also
But this
one of
map
the
has a lot of choke points, so yeah, this is kind of a special map, in fact.
was also one of the maps from the trailer with the, I think, with the radio tower. I
Yeah,
remember that.
that is the radio tower from the trailer.
I remember when
I've placed it
first saw the map, I
myself.
was like, "Oh, that's the one. That's the one." because I think like every Eugen fan, I watched that trailer quite often to just get as much information out of it before any more was publicly available.
That's really cool to hear, in fact. Thank you a lot. Yeah, that radio tour was something that was introduced quite late in the game development of WARNO, but I think we really need it because it is just so cool that to have some radio tours above the heights of the game.
Yeah.
It gives a really sentiment, a really feeling of space, uh, and of course the 80s world that is ongoing.
Yes, something that Spectra is bringing up. Will we have more night maps, or will we have even the ability to maybe have night on all maps or day on all maps?
I don't know if I am able to speak about that, so I just keep evasive. I just be evasive on
Okay.
this one.
Okay.
Yeah, the night technology is something we're working on, as well as thinking about. I insist on thinking about switching from night to day, but that's not absolutely something we are sure to do. We are currently just working and seeing if it is something possible or not. So Rift was a success when we speak about night maps. So that's something we can see on other maps like night settings. Another night setting is in work in progress, but I don't know if it will be switchable from night to day. This I cannot remember. I cannot answer because I don't know.
So yeah, the match we have in front of us is quite interesting because like 2 months ago or before the buff, basically next to nobody played the GDR divisions, and now we have all three assembled in front of us, plus the 79th. So that will be an interesting matchup here. Let's see how that goes. I'm not quite sure which side to favor here. I would say the both have good forward deployment.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
With,
So the early game advantage, in fact, is balanced from a side to the other one. So that will be a tough one
yeah, I guess it
to
will
describe.
be interesting how the T72s will hold up against the T55s and then the T80s combo. Like if the T72 T55 combo is better or the T80 T55 combo is better. And then we'll see if we have any major outplays here in this one.
I mean, T80 did a great job on the the last game, so I'm going for the T80 on this one specific. But of course, the other side could do a great job if they manage to use their tanks properly. Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I wonder if someone will use the side mountains to just like some cheesy strats about with helicopters and or planes to flank around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
since the latest buff, you can bring a lot of helicopters in the fourth, especially. Like
Mm,
the Mi-24s now come with double the availability per card, so that could be quite something useful there, flying around the side,
mm, mm.
trying to get behind enemy lines.
Yeah, Migi is really a good plane right now.
Ooh, we have the vintage coming in as well, once more. The T-34 85s are on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's a relic from past.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward also what will be uh, in the Berlin divisions. Like those, like especially the mixed Western Front one sounds really fun. What we saw this week in
Mm,
Devlog.
mm,
Looking for
indeed.
looking forward what will be in next week's Devlog. And also we saw something else in there. those buildings that are slightly higher than other buildings. So I guess that's a new map that is in works.
What did you saw? I don't. I'm not. I'm not.
In the YouTube videos that Panzer uploaded,
Oh,
and
there was a YouTube video. Let me check that and I'll answer you.
okay, with the
Because
British,
I just don't know about this YouTube video.
with
But
the
I know Panzer is doing a great job on YouTube.
yeah, with the British coming to Berlin, or for British fighting in Berlin, there was some somewhat higher buildings to spot in the rear, or not just in the rear, but actually driving by them, which looked interesting because
So Berlin infantry, yeah, that's the map. Okay, I understand what you saw. Um, yeah, that's like a map we've worked on since July, I think. It is a map I designed as a level designer, and other people built, like Mathieu and Jan, the other people of the level design and level building team. Um, it will be honestly a huge map, I think. Uh, we are trying to make it both appealing for from a gameplay perspective and a visual perspective, and I think it will really be an awesome map.
yeah.
I hope so. In fact,
So the one question is, those buildings most likely will be enterable, right? You will be able to.
they will be untraceable. Yes.
That's and so that's the biggest buildings we ever had in a Eugen game, isn't it? From a
I think it is. It is certainly bigger than the churches in SD4, so I think it is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, building we ever had in a Eugen game. Yes.
that's exciting. Yeah.
Great to hear.
Ooh. And the battle in front of us, already a lot of fighters coming around as well. We also already saw some
Yeah. Oh.
MiG-29s and MiG-31s crashing into the ground.
Yeah, he's doing his job. MiGs are coming.
Ooh, can the MiG-31 get the flank in? Ooh.
It runs out of ammo, unfortunately.
I think you're slightly behind me. At which second are you? I'm at 7 minutes right now.
Yeah, I'll go exactly at 7 minutes too.
I'm waiting at 7 minutes 10 seconds now. 1 second, and then as we have T-34s pushing in itself, SPGs 9s sitting there as well. Those recoilless rifles, really good weapons. The some of the best weapon systems, unmounted weapon systems in in WARNO, I think. Those unmounted weapon systems like ATGMs and recoilless rifles can for sure bring havoc, and that looks like a strong push down there. As the T-34 85s try to counter that, but they easily get killed by it. Let's see who can get the advantage. First CV comes in for the center, but the one on the other side will come around in a second as well. In the north, we still have a pretty big stalemate. Silver Grew and Ericus had most likely invested all their points into the sky fight, and now they have to get units boots on the ground. In the end, infantry wins the fight. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, so far nobody's flanking. Bit disappointing, isn't it?
Right. But understandable. Because this is like risk waste, the most risky strategy to pull out. So I am the one who does and who loves cheesy strats, but everyone doesn't love. Not everyone does love that.
Yeah,
Understandable.
it's also a pretty big map for 2v2, so you first need to invest a lot into the center, I guess, to hold the ground.
Yes.
Usually a
Yes.
3v3 map, but I wanted to get a new map into the rotation that we haven't seen in a while. So I thought Mount River was a good addition here. Yeah, TO55s fighting T62s. Because two-ways and chemicals we had seen a lot in the last couple of tournaments already. But this map, I don't think we have ever seen in any of the tournaments. So, yeah.
And because it features a lot of choke points, I think it is, even if it is a really big map, it is playable in 2v2 quite correctly. So this is a good choice in my opinion.
Yeah, the choke points are interesting. Will be interesting if how they will change once we have amphibious, though.
I'm looking forward to answer this question.
Yeah.
This is a huge thing that is also upcoming, the amphibian units and amphibian divisions. That's something that will of course change a lot of maps, and for instance this one, which will be certainly one of the most changed map when the amphibious units will be around.
Yep.
I don't know how it will exactly work, but it will work out in a way or in another.
Yeah, I'm already looking forward to let my boats run down the river.
That's fun to see. That's fun to see.
The BT-76 flotilla will be around.
Yeah, explosions are a huge part of water battles. In fact, this is something quite interesting to see internally.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to get some water splashes and so on correctly.
This is not my exact job, so I guess so. But yeah, there is some work to do right there.
But I believe in Panzer's ability to manage that because sound and explosions and so on already improved a lot since the beginning of the alpha and look really nice in my.
And they are like all made by Panzer, who is doing really a huge job on that. That's impressive. I mean, I do regularly say to him that his job on like music and sound design is quite good, and he just says no. It is a normal job, you know. I haven't done something particularly special, uh, so that's impressive working with Panzer most of the time. He knows his job, he does it right, and that's really cool.
We have some deep penetration in the north line with Ericus having some behind the line actions, but Jane, with the bombing run, I think got it under control. Here, the cup coming in just at the right moment there.
That's a BMP against a Pioneer.
Yeah, that shouldn't end well for the Pioneer Flamer there. Well, it's more and more KDAs coming in on the battlefield. A big stalemate in the center now. Both sides setting up more and more forces there. So, and now it happens. Ooh, it's going to happen. Silver Grew is the one with the Spesnuts GRU coming around in the north. The other side is prepared, but it's coming around. Me too, sitting there.
Is the GRU going to use the mountain as an observation point? We don't know.
No, I think it's just using it as an obstruction of line of sight,
Yeah, I
and
think
it's
so.
just going for the really it's going all the way into the enemy spawn. Get
And we try to get some informations about, like, I don't know, where are the CVs, where are the RTs, even though blue side doesn't have RT, I think.
oh no, I don't think it's going there for recon. I think it's going there for killing some units coming in.
Just spawn kill, yeah, that might be a strategy too.
The special forces there infiltrating the supply lines.
That's the job of the GRU, in fact.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a relatively solid RPGM, short range but good amount of damage, so they should be able to wreak some havoc. Artillery-wise, it's the blue team that has a slight advantage, I think. Oh no, it's mostly mortars there. I was like, yeah, I saw a lot of shells, but that's mostly mortars. Well, it's the other side has the first Akatsuya out, but no major artillery on the battlefield just yet. Yes. Yeah, the chat was asking me what I would like as spectator tools. To be honest, I would like to see in the spectator mode, not so much. I would like to have the same option that you have in the spectator mode with hiding the HUD in game. That is something I would really enjoy as a content creator. Um, but I already talked with Panzer about that. That a button or like a hotkey where you could have the same view here, or where you hide the HUD, or parts of the HUD, in the game, in the normal game as well. That you, for cinematic shots, don't have to go into the replay but setup, but actually could see it in game. Like, and then yeah, obviously, if we go deeper, I would love to see moddable HUDs for replays and so on. But I guess that might already be possible. Don't know to what extent, because there are already interesting UI mods. Yeah, so yeah, more moddable UI, so that we then maybe can create our own stuff in the future, similar to other RTS, would be really cool. But yeah, that's me there. You're all getting away. Oh, and I would love to be able to see everyone's APM at the end of the game. I want to know if I have more APM than my opponents. The StarCraft player in me comes through. I want to know if I click the buttons harder than my enemy.
Yeah, that's clearly a StarCraft player, Ruby.
Like that's I love that we have it in WARNO now, that you can see your own APM. Like it made me so happy without like there like the unreasonably so, I would say. Like I was just
Yeah,
completely
I
in awe
can
when
understand what you're saying.
I
Because it is like the most basic thing we can just give to you.
yeah, but
Uh,
I was so over the moon when I first saw that in a YouTube game. I was like, oh yeah, now I can see how trash my APM is.
but jokes aside, I can understand why this could be a great tool in order to improve our gameplay or our way of playing Wano. So I can understand why it could be considered a very useful tool.
Yeah, for my own APMs, sure. Yeah, as Leifens points out, it has in StarCraft also always the toxic notion that people are like, oh my god, how do I lose to someone with less APM than me? But I don't know. Yeah, as a spectator, it would be interesting.
I see blue players is kind of hunting down CV on the left side.
Yeah, the helicopters try their best. The planes and the reinforcing T-55s try their best to stem the tide, but there's the SPG-9s did really well for sticky hooves down here, and they're
Yes.
still with the push, getting resupplied by what is it, MTLB supply, and yeah, they still bully the tanks here on the shorter ranges of Jane's Bruce, and that might end pretty badly. Oh yeah. Better readability for as we also had a UI at the beginning of the game, I remember, where you had, which was really not that great for when you were playing yourself, but you had your points and your opponent's points, and the information up in top bar. And in the spectator bar, version of the game, the top bar is relatively empty, whilst when you play yourself, it's really full. But maybe moving that information there again and then having the icons bigger could be...
just in order to have just a little bit more of a view. I can understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, and also the icons on the right side are not as readable as they could be in the top bar because there's more space there, like a bit bigger space, so that you can read or like the division's names. I like that the that you changed the, what's it called, the size of the text.
Yes, yes,
That it
yes.
is now bold, that it is now way more readable. Like if you hover over something, the
Yeah,
text that comes up.
we've worked a lot on typos and on more often the quality of life enhancements. So that's something we work on day to day. As I said, for instance, Minimap is currently on a huge how to put this on a huge work. So I'm confident we will be able to deliver a better version of WARNO, considering specifically quality of life enhancements from patch to patch. In fact, patch to patch.
Yeah, it already has come a good way since launch, and I'm, yeah, as a Strike Team member, also I'm optimistic that the next patch will be a good step forward there as well. Once more.
Great. Is the GRU helicopter in position?
Oh, it got its Spetsnaz out. I don't know what happened to the helicopter. The helicopter might have died, or it might have gone back, but the Spetsnaz are there. And ooh, it's no, it won't be in time for the two T-72s coming by. With
I
its,
think they won't get it, honestly.
but the next reinforcements afterwards, they might not be as lucky as these T-72s. Those T-72s don't even know what isn't lurking next to them. They
Yeah.
have no idea how close they were to dying there. But the next unit, the Spetsnaz 21 penetration of the RPG 27, will have a tough time there. And well, in the south, yeah, Sticky Hooves really set up two Me Too helicopters to exactly spot something like that, but Silver Crew going the extra mile around and sending in the next Vesnats crew for the exact same spot to replace the first one if it falls.
That's the rule. I mean, if a strategy is stupid by essence, you have to do it twice. That's how you play WARNO. This is really something I love to see when people just take the game and do whatever they want with their tools. That's something I really enjoy watching, and that's why I've did this huge chunks of forests on the left side and on the right side of the map, just to make this kind of strategy, if we can call it a strategy, possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, more Akatsias coming up, so the artillery density on the game increases. Meanwhile though, the south, the blues are pushing forward hard, and they got the complete control over the zone, so the ticking is on, and that puts some pressure onto the red players. They have to stop that within the next couple of minutes, or they will be a good bit behind. And oh,
But it is happening on the red side also for the other points.
yeah, so red and blue now once more equalized. I'm not quite sure how
So the
that CV
ticking
got
doesn't
sniped.
occur anymore.
Might have been the Motorstrucky Maddies. Yeah, I think the Motorstrucky Maddies got the snipe on the CV there. Because the red team hasn't pushed as deep there, but that one good line of sight was good enough to get a nice kill. Meanwhile, the Spetsnaz GRU got 4 of their RPGs already fired, and they got a couple of victims there. 3 victims burning. 2 of them artillery pieces. Oh, that's brutal. Losing 2
Yeah.
Waditsa, I think it is.
Honestly, I just don't know.
I think it's Quaditsas. Might be Akatsias as well, but I'm also not that great in identifying Cold War equipment. I'm more of a...
Hopefully, GRU didn't get the CV units that's coming for the blue side.
Okay, no, I think that's actually Akatsias. So that's 360 point artillery gone thanks to that GRU.
So that was a really good mission, in fact. The
Yeah,
Spetsnaz did.
but now the hunt is on. Sticky Hoofs bringing in a recon and attack helicopter, B-24D.
And the Spetsnaz might be also out of ammunitions. I don't know. They have four rockets, something like that.
No, they have 6 and they still have 2 remaining right now.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, they're trying to hit up the Me-2 helicopter with their rifles, but they're not fast enough there, and the Me-24D comes around and eliminates it for the first time. So that one is dead. Yeah, Sticky Hooves really wants to take revenge there. You don't want to have these guys stay behind your lines. And that's what helicopters are perfect for. Hunting down
Indeed.
infantry behind your lines.
That was a really good use of the helicopter strength.
Meanwhile, the Akatsias on the other side, they're firing a lot, but they're not firing too accurately. They're firing a lot on areas where units are either already dead or never really were. So that is interesting. But now they... Okay, the SPW might be in trouble though. That one got spotted and that is gonna be under fire of 4 Akatsias. So that's...
Yeah, the CV might die just because of this RT spam.
But
Whereas the other team is reclaiming the point.
yeah, I'm not sure how Sticky Hooves lost the pressure there. I guess a bit too little infantry right now on the front for Sticky Hooves with the 4th Mudschützen in the matchup against Jane Bruce. And thanks for the follow, Isohack. Yeah, welcome to the channel.
Welcome.
So yeah, the chat has the question, where do you start when designing a map? Like...
Oh, that's in fact, a quite interesting question. Thank you for asking. When designing a map, the first thing I do is discussing with the people who wants this map. That is to say, most of the time, Sardaukar or a grand strateger, or even sometimes Panzer, but that's more rare. And then what I do is that I draw my work through Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and I drew my relief, some water zones, some mountains, some plateaus, of course. I then put on my roads, which are of course following several rules. For instance, you need to be able to deliver your reinforcements from the 2 sides of the map in an equal time, that kind of thing. You need to be able to get to a precise point in an equivalent time and in an equivalent level of security for your units. For instance, that's the kind of thing I'm thinking of when I put my roads on. This is all just drawing pictures from now in Photoshops, and then I walk my buildings. I know I say here in this precise position there will be a lot of farms. Here there will be a city. Here there will be an industry plant, for instance. And then I finish my walk by putting on some forest and the objectives, which are of course thought about from the beginning of map design process, but which really take shape when all the mountains and all the relief and all the roads are put on correctly. Then this work is seen by a lot of people who are giving me their thoughts on my work. For example, Damned is a really good colleague when we talk about level designing. So yeah, I discussed with these people about which thing we have to change, which thing is good, which intention of design, because everything goes from a design intention. I mean, for instance, I can say that Rift is more open than Mount Weaver that we currently see. That's an intention at its core. And then we eventually find a middle ground that corresponds to, in fact, a cool map, considering WARNO's limits and WARNO's specifications. Oh, 2 planes down. Good job. And
Yeah.
and I don't know where I was. Then, when the level design, that's what we call the level design internally, is approved by everyone who is able to approve a level design, that is to say me, Sardoka, Grand Strateger, Damned, then we go through the level building steps, which consist of, first of all, creating the map, then creating the major relief zones like mountains, like lakes, like that kind of really important stuff when we talk about map design. When we put on we put on our navigation systems, navigation network, which is mainly streets, roads, and cities. Here, we put on some objectives and some defense points on a really rough way. That is to say, for instance, huge chunks of forests which aren't exactly cut on, industries that are placed in a clever way but that are not correctly placed. And then we test it a lot. We do a lot of testing, and we think, is it a good map? Is it balanced? Is it cool to play? Is it fun to play? Does it fit the intention we put on? And if everything is okay, then we go for the end of the level building work, which is mainly exactly drawing exact forest shapes, exact industry plants shapes, exact, of course, fields are a huge part of level building. This is then again QA'd by the QA team, which is doing a wonderful work. Damned and I don't know his name, so I will just call him Charlie. Are doing a great job at the QA team, on the QA team. So thanks to them, really, they are awesome. And if everything works properly and is visually correct, for instance, there is no field inside houses, there is no, I don't know, fences on roads. That's something that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
We decide to put on the how to say it, the IA, in fact, and then when the IA is put on, we give the maps to the VIP, which I also speaks to when I design maps on paper. Protos, I think you can
Yeah.
follow me on this one. I talk a lot with VIPs about level design and how we should design maps. What is a cool idea, what is a not so cool idea, not to say this is bad idea. Yeah, VIPs are helping us a lot on this specific question. And then when the IA is working and QA'd, we give the map to the strike team, which
Yeah,
is giving us a lot of feedback. Thank you.
For
And then-
example, the feedback you collected on I always forget the name of that. Is it Rift? No.
Rift,
is
yes.
Rift is the 10v10 map, right? Or is it the dark map?
We have 3 10v10 map, Crown.
Crown is what I was going on
Crown,
about.
okay.
Right. Yeah, there you collected a lot of feedback as well, right?
Yes, indeed. Crown is one of our biggest maps, so it is one of the hardest, in fact, to test and to QA internally. That's something you don't think about when you think about the QA work in a game.
Yeah, but you
studio.
you don't just have 20 guys available to just play the game instantaneously. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
testing
That's the
10v10
point.
in-house is complex. Yeah.
If you choose to QA a 10v10 map, you have to have 20 people so that just too much people to hire just for creating 10v10 maps. So in this precise situation, the VIP team is really doing a huge work and is really helping improving the game in a better way every day.
Yeah, I mean, you also there was a lot of talk on the official Discord as well, right? Like I saw you guys there a lot as well over the last couple of months. So I think you were some of the most responsive for sure, and it's lovely to see Eugen being so
I
in
try
contact with the
to.
community. Yeah.
uh, Speaking in a public, I saw your question, Spectra. I will answer it. But speaking in a public channel like we did on the public Discord is a way of doing a simple thing, a thing as simple as just speaking to somebody, which is really specific and which I am not exactly sure I'm doing it the right way. I mean, I try to be honest. I try to answer most of the interrogation, most of the questions all players are asking about map design and about map building. But yes, it is time consuming. It is also difficult to gather feedbacks and to consider these feedbacks and the internal process that we have on that have its flaws and doesn't always enable us to redraw things, to redo things, for instance. So thank you all to absolutely everyone who gives any feedbacks on the map feedback channel. Be sure I'm reading absolutely everything and I'm talking about everything to my lead, Sardoka. And I'm trying my best to use your feedback the best way I can. That's something I can say, and I'm doing my best on this one. Follow-up question: will there exist maps which are clones of real-life battlefields? This kind of maps already exist. For instance, Loop. Yeah, that's Loop. Loop is based on a real river. Of course, because reality is in the game, I don't think we will be. If we do, for instance, if we say, okay, let's open Google Maps and let's take this specific part of Germany and turn this into a map, that's something we can do, and that's something we do from day to day. In fact, all of our work is always based on the reality, on Google Maps reference. But doing the exact same thing as the reality does is something that might seem like a good idea, but is most of the time not that good of an idea, because reality is in the game and reality isn't designed to be fun. Reality is designed to be efficient. Reality is designed to be clever, to be, for instance, easy to navigate through. For instance, that's an example. And a game should not always be easy uh, to to navigate through. That's not quite a good example, because navigation is a huge part of my job, and I really do my best to make the navigation the easiest it could be. But you have the idea. In fact, reality is a good reference, but it is not a good map design. If I have to say something quite literally. We have very few Easter eggs. In fact, we have really, yeah, I don't think we really have one Easter eggs. I've put it on top of the big buildings you've seen on YouTube. Just a bicycle. That's the only Easter egg I can think of. If you find it, great. You did something. but for now, I don't know if there is enough Easter egg in the game. I don't know even if there are Easter eggs in WARNO.
I
For
mean,
now.
I'm pretty sure there are. I mean, the detail on the villages are really nice. Like including the, I think some of what you could call Easter eggs, for example, are the advertisement things,
Yes.
where you
Yes. Yes.
see
Yes.
the yeah, what is written on them and so on, which are
We've also thought about vehicle identification. Thought about making like smart messages on vehicle plates or that kind of thing. But that's something we haven't done for now. But I don't know if we will
well,
do
I
that.
see Steel Division 103 here. I'm pretty sure that's in development, isn't it?
Yeah,
Uh,
of course.
secret
That's the
messages.
Steel Division occurring in the past, in the year 103, where you are fighting with swords and axes. That's a really good game. Uh,
Oh,
it will
why?
be out like in December, I think.
Oh, I thought it would be the 103rd installation of Steel Division that is coming at some point. Oh my god, we have. How did they get here? Erica's deep T-72, T-55 push in the rear behind Silver Crew's lines. That is interesting. I'm not sure how they got there. I'm not sure how they will survive there. I guess they don't because they don't have anything to spot. That's really the
That's
perfect show of,
brave. That's brave.
yeah. That's the perfect show of combined arms. Like why combined
Did
arms
they
is so
get the
important.
Sapery? Yes, they got the CV.
Oh. Yeah, but another one.
Oh. So that was really like a commando attack that worked well, but unfortunately, another Sapery is coming on. Ah, that's tough to see.
Yeah, on the other, in the north, Erica's really safe now, all the way with all the Me Too's over the over the river. No more Spetsnaz gonna get into that real line
Yeah,
undetected.
yeah, but Spetsnaz really have just make the blue side fear a lot about their units. I mean, they just killed like 3 or 4 tanks, but the mental damage they did is absolutely enormous.
Yeah. In the meantime, SU-25 is one of the best planes currently in the game, flying deep, but it's not immortal, and there's a good amount of AA on the other side. The Coops and the Shilkas doing a good job getting it down in the end. For now, Silver Crew and Jane are in the lead though, so the blue team needs to get more points here in the next 4 minutes. So push is desperately needed, but I guess that's what's going to happen now on the southern side, where Ericus now is trying to push Jane out there, and I would say that should be possible. I think that was already possible for a long while. Maybe waited a bit too long with it, because even if they win there now, I don't think that would be enough points. If only... Yeah, if that CV dies now, that would be a +2, right? Yeah, it's a +2 zone, which is 80 points per minute, and that wouldn't be enough. So they need to go deeper. They need to go for the +4, for the 160 points per minute. And that, yeah, let's see if that is possible. They are on the tick again. This game might get really, really close if the blue team can push deeper here now. Ah, but the artillery is brutal. The Akatsias coming in. Yeah, the queen of the battlefield. Soviet doctrine kicking in here. And that is not looking good for the blue assault here, as it really needs to get one step deeper for the victory. Cluster bomber coming around. Yeah, the amount of carnage that is going on in team games. Like 1v1, I'm usually obviously a 1v1 player, but there it's also mostly so tactical, like small little engagements, which are amazing to watch the strategies that are going on. But like 2v2 and onwards is it's just another whole nother dimension of this whole battlefield in explosions and carnage all around. I love it. That's also why Eugen games are really, really great, with 10v10 obviously being the top level there of complete carnage.
By the way, getting the CV on the bottom left of this area was really a good call from the red player, because he hadn't like played in this area from the whole game, and just at the end of the game he decided to put a CV here. That's a smart move.
Yeah, getting the ticks for stopped for as long as possible, and with only 1 minute 40 remaining here, I guess this game is over. Gonna have a final at hand. Cluster Bomber coming in for it, missing it though. Silver Grew really going sneaky there. Next cluster trying to hit it, but will miss as well. And I guess the game is going to the red team then. Which means that we have our opponents from the first game, Zubos and today My Name is Fox, versus Silver Grew and James Bruce in the finals. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, maybe I have to agree with Shrek and War. Maybe a bit more, or a bit, not a full-on road, but maybe a road that comes up from the other side as well, so that maneuvering around the flank with ground units might be possible. Because we have that one road leading up over here. A similar road on the other side is something that would be my criticism on this map as well, I guess. That,
Yeah, it is something we. I mean, for instance, I did that on Geyser,
yeah, exactly.
aiding roads on mountains. It is a great way of uh, modifying light events, light pieces of the old-fashioned maps, and enhancing the game feel a lot. But I don't know if we will do that on every map. For now, we're really focusing on destruction mode, which is taking a lot of lot of time. And I will talk about Black Forest. Don't worry. Um, but yeah, of course, it would be certainly a great way of enhancing this map. Uh, but it is all about time, and adding roads is a time-consuming process. I try to do it if I have time, but I cannot give you guarantees that it will be done soon, or that it will be done at all. In fact, but I try to. All 6 zones on these maps are big, and right next to each other. Will there be more maps with zones like that? There is already chemical, for instance, which is kind of the same thing. 4 big maps, uh, 4 big zones, 4 big areas on the same area. Uh, yeah, chemical fits this right. I think of maybe the destruction mode. Destruction mode is more aggressive, in fact. Destruction mode will have brand new command zones, placements, and shapes. So I did that in a much more aggressive way. So I think tail to tail zone like we have on Mount River will be something more common in the destruction mode that it is currently in the conquest mode. I think I missed a little bit some questions.
So yeah,
Yeah,
Black Forest.
Black Forest, Black Forest. Black Forest is in work in progress. It is currently reworked. Um, I've done some work on Black Forest. For instance, I've choose to chop a lot of forest in Black Forest, whether it is the big chunks of forest, namely the broccoli forest, or whether it is the much more smaller forests. Uh, and now what I try to do in Black Forest is adding some roads inside the mountains, just like we discussed. Um, Namely in the broccoli forest, and I've also put inside this broccoli forest a giant sawmill, like we did with the chemical plant on chemical, which was quite a cool thing, I guess. I really like the chemical plant in chemical. Um, so this is currently in work in progress. This is currently in some validation states. I mean, the QA team has a lot to do, and we really want to be sure that we give these maps in a perfect shape before before making the rotation. But I'm confident you will, if not like the new Black Forest, find it better than the old-fashioned Black Forest that you currently have in game. So I do hope you like it. Uh,
Yes, I'm pretty optimistic there that I will like it, at least after seeing the sketches of it. So yeah, it
yeah,
looks
you only have had seen sketches. I didn't show you some screenshots. Uh,
no, but
yeah, this is in work in progress. I mean, I say that a lot. This is in work in progress, but that's the truth of game development. Everything takes time, and when I do something, we sometimes have to wait days, weeks before it gets to the QA, and before everyone takes the time to be sure everything is done right on this map. So I kind of feel sorry for the delay on this kind of procedure and this kind of stuff, but I think it is a necessary pain in order to give you the best map we can when, but only when it will be really really good and really cool to play. Is the next game currently ongoing or not?
they are
Or is it
setting it up right now. They're
okay?
so yeah, they both requested a short break because they are like yeah, those both teams had exhausting last games, so they wanted a short break to get some water and so on. Yeah, do you need a short break? Should we do one as well, or you
Uh,
fine to go on?
no, I just stay there and answer some question of the chat.
Okay, then yeah, then we
That's
can go
okay
on.
for me.
Um, so yeah, Lathan's question I think is an interesting one as well. Behind the point distribution between zones, like how do you decide how many points a zone is worth, or supposed to be worth?
Maybe this is an interesting question. This is a complex question. This is part of my day-to-day job, and this is a huge part of level design. When you do level design, you think about mainly two things, three things. What are the rewards of your action? What are the challenges you put on? For instance, if you do, if tomorrow you design Zelda Breath of the Wild, for instance, you have to decide where to put goblins and where to put swords and stuff, and you also have to decide what should you do in this game. In this game, what are the objectives? So that is to say, what are the command zones and how much are they worth? Um, yeah, Goblin Division confirmed, of course. Um, when designing conquest game mode, we try to make it like we have two types of zones. The ones that will be most of the time contested, that is to say the zone that are situated in the middle ground of a map, and the zones that are more defensive, that are more remote, more near the spawns of the players. And these zones are most of the time um, they give more points, more victory points to the player. This is an incentive to keep the push going on, in fact, because what we don't want to see is someone who just captured the middle point and turtles on the middle points, like with infantry, with tanks, with helicopters, and just tries to keep this point as much as possible. But we will want this early on in order to make the map more aggressive. And that's why the much more uh, remote zones are much more valuable, in fact. So yeah, what we know do most of the time is a 2-1-2 type of level design. So the first defensive points are worth 2 points, the contested points are worth 1 point, and the last the last defensive zones are also worth 2 points. If you want to get some water, Protoss, I won't keep you with me. I can.
No, I have water. I'm
Okay.
listening in full interest.
Okay.
I'm really interested into most of these questions as well. So yeah.
Yeah, honestly, my job is a dream job. I mean, designing video games is, of course, as you can think, pretty much. It is a job, but it is also a passion. I mean, I've always wanted to be a game or level designer, and being a level designer is a chance I cherish, and I love my job. I'm really trying my best to do the better game again, and that's the case for everyone working at Eugen Systems. So yeah, Goblins Division, yeah. I survived Black Forest T-shirts. Okay, that's cool. That's a good idea.
That would be a really good merch. Yeah. The
No,
broccoli meme.
that wasn't my best map. Black Forest isn't my genius work. I think we can say that.
Yeah, but unlike
Um,
in Steel Division, fixing it now is at least easier. Not like easy, I guess, but easier. So I'm looking forward to the rework. And
I hope you liked it. Uh, it will be cool if the zone can upgrade its point value the longer you hold it. Yes, that might be a game mode. Unfortunately, I'm not able to speak to you about game mode because then again, this is not my job. You might talk about game mods to either Grand Strateger, Panzer, Mad Mat, that kind of people. But yeah, that could be an interesting feature, of course. Do you take into account how the points affect them if the maps is going to make games longer or faster? Yes. In fact, we know that a typical game setting is 40 minutes limits, 40-minute time limits. So we try to fit this precise chunk of time, which is a huge chunk of time. I mean, as you said, 25 minutes isn't 35 minutes. This is not the same game. And I didn't remember what I was saying. Yeah, how do we design it, and do we want games to be longer, faster? This is something that really depends on both the aggressivity of players, both the division they are playing, and of course, as you precisely said, the level design. We tried to make, I try, in fact, to make maps both full of design intention. What I call design intention is, for instance, what can be a design intention? It might be I want this map to both have some open areas and some flanking roads going through forest. This is a concept. Then Sardoka adds up. This must have plateaus and this must have some mountains. So yeah, these are design intentions which are making the game fun. If you don't have any design intention, in fact, you have a flat ground without any trees or without any mountains, without any buildings. So this might be a great tank warfare, but I don't know if it is a great WARNO map. And so yeah, in my left hand I have my design intentions, and in my right hand I have the reality of WARNO, and of course the player base that I try to content a lot, and that I try to design maps in a way I'm confident they will be fun to play and they will be greatly received by you, everyone who are listening to me right now. So most of the time, this implies compromise. And by compromise, I mean both uh, assuming my design intentions and assuming my work, assuming that this map, for instance, like Rift is the most open map in the game right now. This is a design intention, and both making the map playable by both tanks player and helicopters player and infantry players. So that is to say, making the map smoother for everyone to play on and smooth some of my a little bit too hardcore design intentions. Do you
So
want to speak about the match, Potos?
yeah, the finals are on the way, and it seems like everyone is a copycat because Damned and I guess, have shifted the meta, and now everyone seems to play KDA and 79th, as we have a mirror match in the finals, which is gonna be interesting because both sides will have the exact same tools here, and I guess even though it's not the same players who will win this time around, it will at least be the same divisions as in the last run. So this is gonna be interesting. Zubos, Zubos and Foxy, who took us down in round one versus Silver Gru and Jane. And yeah, we are on one of the OG maps, which is a really good map. Yeah, two ways. I like all forms of this map. I like it in all of its shapes and forms when it comes to map design. I'm not liking to play on it. I'm honest, because I'm just not that good on it. I'm somehow always losing on it. But
It is kind of a special map. Either you love it, either you hate two ways. This is a really dividing map.
I mean, I love it as a caster and commentator. I hate it as a player. Like,
I can understand that.
it's making
It was
really
really painful to design. Honestly, the more mountains you have in a map, the more complicated it is to design because the roads need to go through mountains, and this is a much more complicated feat to do than we might think. So this was hard to design, but fortunately, it is quite playable and quite good map.
yeah.
It is a little bit unbalanced, unfortunately, but I think it is still playable and fun most of the time.
Yeah, it's also, yeah, mountains nowadays that you actually have a line of sight tool that works on such uneven mountains. Like, it's as someone who came into it with Steel Division Normandy, I'm first of all still impressed that the line of sight tool can see mountains, and then now in Steel Division 2 we had those boxy mountains or boxy hills, and now we have
Right.
actually rugged terrain, and it still works pretty well. Like, obviously not always 100%, but uh, the level of detail on the maps is just would be too much to process, I guess, for the line of sight tool. I'm still really impressed by the looks and the functionality of the line of sight tool plus the maps.
Thank you. That's really cool to hear. I saw that Tiki's mat is in the chat, so he will be really thrilled to hear that. Tiki's mat is a huge people. Do you want to cast the beginning of a game, or should I answer some questions?
You can go on. Yeah,
Okay.
but
So I don't know if I exactly answered your question about game length, Lafans, but yeah, we try to manage our best to at least know if a map will be long to play on or quite aggressive, and so as a consequence quite short to be played on.
so the
So, what is more fun to create old steel villages and areas like in the SD2 or more modern areas like in WARNO? In fact, I've in as a level designer only made WARNO maps because I'm at Fusion System for like a year in October. That was a year I was in United System. So I haven't worked a lot on SD2, except on OARBA, which I have a little bit worked on. Both are fun, in fact, in my opinion, because I am much more into World War II than into Modern Warfare conflicts. I'm pretty much sure I answer that I prefer to do Normandy villages or Germany villages, like we can see in SD2. But honestly, doing city parks, doing city design, doing parking lots in WARNO was also a lot of work, but also a lot of fun. So it is just like totally different jobs. Um, how much emphasis do you put on? Oh,
On
I switch a question. Are there map design elements that discourage attackers from pushing all the way to the opposing player's spawn point? If we consider only map design, most of the time you can go through a corridor from your spawn to the enemy spawn in a quite quick way. Notice, please, that I have said quite a quick way. For instance, if you see two-way that we currently see, it is not the fastest map to travel, but still, you normally have a quite rapid, a quite quick way if you want to go really straightforward. But unfortunately, if you want to go doing some zigzags or in a more diverted way, it could take some time. And in these situations, sometimes fuel might be an issue. Fuel is, in my opinion, as a designer, not as a really confirmed WARNO player, fueled is an interesting feature, but I cannot give you my thoughts on this feature specifically as how to say it as a game feature. I know that it is a precious tool when designing maps, and I always keep in mind the fuel restrictions. But is fuel a good thing for a game or not? I have no
the
opinion on that
yeah,
subject.
the community there is pretty split on that topic as well. Like, yeah,
So yeah, then again, this is a game design issue. So of course, it is also a level design issue because fuel are used by units on the battleground, but it is at its core a game design issue. So I won't talk about that. How much emphasize? I don't know how to say it in English. Emphase en anglais. En français. In French, we say emphase.
emphasis.
How much interest do you put in on choke points gameplay? That's also an interesting question. It depends on my design intention when designing maps. That's the short answer. For instance, yeah, what you see on Protoss screen is a really hard choke point, one of the hardest choke point of the whole game. And this was a design intention. I mean, we wanted a kind of a canyon, a corridor between two mountains on two ways. That's what we done, and it has its advantages, its coolness, but it has also its flaws, like sometimes it can turn on a mid grinder and that kind of thing. Um, in fact, if you do some RTS map design at home, for instance, you say, okay, I'll just try to imagine what a Wano map might be. You'll quickly end up, if you really want this map to be fun, and if you really want this map to have your design intention, you really have to quickly put on some relief, and relief by essence with defense points. That is to say, forests and areas like industrial areas, cities. They will create choke points, uh, whether you want it or not. In fact, this is a consequence of map design. So you can say I want a really low amount of choke points. That is an intention, which isn't better than another one. That's not the point. It is an intention. But fortunately or not, you'll eventually always end up putting some kind of choke points on your maps. Are
Yeah,
they hard or are they
unless
just
you're
like?
going with the full plank map of Total War. I don't know if you played Rome Total War.
I've played it like 2 hours because I don't understand the tutorials of Total Wars.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, in the battles you in Rome Total War in the really old one, it was usually the multiplayer standard to go to is just a plain field with just grass. Like that's the
Yeah,
only kind of map where you
yeah,
don't
that's
get choke points
something
on.
I've seen also in Warhammer Total War. Yeah, in fact, micro level design of skirmishes are in Total War just about where is the hill. That's the level design of Total War, which is something that works because Total War is more about maneuvering big chunks of armies,
Yeah,
like Roman's army or that kind of thing. Whereas WARNO has, in fact, a lot of tactical warfare happening, and so when we speak about tactical warfare, we most of the time have to make better choices when we speak about choke points. We most of the time are kind of forced. That's not the good term, but you have the idea. Forced to create gameplay by implementing some choke points.
we have a big city fight going on here right now. Jane really pushing hard, but the sub-parries are around, and TNT is really effective in these kind of scenarios. So it looks
Yes,
like
Sapiris are doing quite good inside these buildings.
yeah, TNT in general, pretty mighty tool if you use it correctly. It's tough to use at the moment, but yeah, Karma really showed me the way with it. it's 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 insane how strong it can be if combined with smoke. Um, yeah, red team tried to go hard for this zone, but I'm not sure it's working out. As the blue team, on the other hand, was able to secure that choky mid point of the map. So that is interesting. Yeah, a question I had after, because you were talking about that you like World War II more as a scenario, and then I asked about Total War, and you said that's not your kind of game. And what kind of games are you playing outside of the huge and Cosmos?
Honestly, that this is a huge question. I'm only 23, so I have a lot of time playing video games, and that's a good thing because I like it. Recently, like the last month, I've done two games that I haven't done because I was too small when they came out, which are the two first Call of Duties, which were
Ooh. Yeah.
they have absolutely nothing to compare with the more recent one or with the Black Ops era of oh, my game just fell out of my hand. Uh, Black Ops era of Call of Duty. Also, I've played Partisan 44, which is an indie game, much more like Commando. Do you remember Commando?
Yes, I like
The,
yeah
the Spanish game.
I never played it, but I played Shogun. No, what's it called? Shadow Plates? I think Shadow Plates, which is similar with but in
I don't know
Shogun.
Shadow Place, but yeah, that's a top view infiltration game that occurs in 1944 in the east front of the world, with Russian army versus Russian partisans versus German soldiers. So this was really cool. Of course, my go-to game when I speak about World War II is not an historical one. It is Wolfenstein. I do love Return to Castle Wolfenstein 2009, which has, in my opinion, some of the best FPSs ever made. ID Softworks really nailed it on this franchise. I'm sure I always love. I'm sure I forgot a lot of World War II games because World War II kind of Medal of Honor, of course. Medal of Honor on the PS1. I've done that game like thousands of times. The infiltration operation with papers. Yes, I'm kind of an FPS guy, as you might think, because when it comes to RTS, I'm on the Age of Empires side
You're
the
not
game.
a StarCraft guy. Disappointing.
No, I'm not a StarCraft guy. I'm on Age of Empires, and Command and Conquers was also a lot of fun. But mainly Age of Empires 3, which isn't the most liked Age of
That's a
Empires.
controversial topic there.
Yeah, that's a controversial topic because I mean Age of Empires 2 is great, but Age of Empires 3 has both this feeling and this settings that is quite rare when we speak about RTS. I mean, uh, in my besides Total Wars, which aren't exactly RTSs, I mean Age of Empires 3 is one of the lone RTS about Napoleon Wars and that kind of thing. So that's an interesting setting, and I don't know. I just love how they both made a Cossacks was great inside. Exactly.
Oh yeah, Cossacks. Yeah, yeah. That's a
I
game of the
love
youth.
how they did both a video game, which has a lot of absurdity due to video games features, like for instance Portuguese, which are able to drive on towns like they are just chips. Uh, Things that doesn't really matter, and Russian that doesn't give any interest in human lives in Age of Empires 3. I mean, only. Um, that's something that I really like, and both having really good looks on the units, really historical units. That, for instance, Red Musketeers of British Army are quite historical correct in Age of Empires 3. That's something I like. But
So
yeah,
now
when
I
it
have
comes,
a new question regarding that. So that means will you support Mad in his life journey for pushing getting a Eugen to make a Napoleonic War game?
that's that's a very funny running gag inside Eugen system, because when Mad or anyone, but honestly 90% of the time it is Mad
Yeah.
is talking about Napoleonic War. We just answer, yeah, if we do that, we will have like horses instead of soldiers, horses over soldiers that are riding soldiers. That will be absolutely ridiculous. And so the debate is closed like that. But yeah, if one day, uh, I don't know if it will happen, but let's hope. If one day Mad gains a little bit of support in this opinion, I will, of course, be one of them. I really like Napoleonic Wars as a setting. Um, yes, I am taking account of the stealth buff of Forest and their shapes, which are giving both a stealth bonus, both a defense bonus. And are they put, and this is not English at all, are they put in a more gameplay perspective or more an aesthetic perspective? Uh, in my way of working, it will always be gameplay first, but of course WARNO is as gorgeous as it is because we also have many people in the team looking for the aesthetic of the maps. So the good answer to the question is that both, in fact. Forest are both placed from a gameplay perspective and an aesthetic perspective. Yeah, that's it.
So the game
Dude,
at hand here's really interesting back and forth as a red team tried hard to go for the Delta point, oh no, Foxtrot point, and got pushed out of there, but at the same time, the blue team was then not strong enough to in the center to get the next pushed out there. So it's somehow shifted around from blue team having control over the center and red team having the push on the side going on to now red team being in control of the center and having a really heavy push going on there. A lot of T80 BVs pushing in here. That will be tough to push back because retaking the center on this map is a tough job to do. But I guess the flanking idea here of the blue team is the right one. Let's see if that can work out. Or if the red team can keep on holding the center. But the blue, yeah, that's what I like about this map. Also in the 2v2 aspect, like the flanking you can do through the forest can be really nice. It's not that great when I'm on the receiving end of it, because I for the love of God can't micro grade on this map. I always have the wrong line of sights going on and so on. But yeah, these two teams seem to have it figured out, and I like this side flank here with a lot of infantry coming in.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most difficult map to play on, considering WARNO. But yeah, exactly. When we talk about mountains and flanking through mountains, two ways is basically the upper hand of this philosophy.
Well, yeah, the T80Bs getting pushed back. It's really everything the Warsaw Pact has to offer here from quality levels. T80 UDs, and then on the other side T34 85s. It's the whole spectrum represented in this matchup here on both sides, which is kind of interesting, as we have a couple of wrecked T35 85s for example in the town, and now we have T80 UDs fighting each other soon on the open terrain. So this is not quite a fair fight here when it comes to the 5 decades that leap between these two tanks. Nearly, yeah, 5 decades, I guess.
Yeah,
But
approximately, yeah.
as a Steel Division fan, I was really happy to see the T34 85 make it into the battle.
That was a. It might be unexpected, in fact. You know, the game takes place in '89, and we have like really old technology, but that's also the charm, if I can say so, of Cold War conflict, is that technology was like on a huge race to whoever got the best, the quickest, and this led to a lot of obsolete weapons still being used years after the conception. So that's an interesting part of WARNO, in my opinion.
Yes, I really like the representation of the Kampfgruppen der Arbeiterklasse. Like, as someone who's from East Germany myself, with a father, like all my family members basically having served in the NVA at some point, it's really cool to see all kind of East German stuff represented down to
That's
the
really cool
KDAs.
to hear. I think if Mad Matt was here, he would be thrilled, honestly. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
I'm not quite sure, but I think, for example, my uncle served in the 7th Panzer Division. Might be, he was in one of the 2 Panzer Divisions. I'm not 100% sure if it was the 7th or the other one, the 3rd, I think it was. But it's pretty interesting to see all of this stuff represented. That my father always told me stories, or like my family was talking about and had books around, and now being able to play that. And talking with my father about the game is also always interesting, because he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. So that's, I guess, the charm of these games, which is
That's
really cool.
why we do this game. In fact, we know that our players, like you Protoss, for instance, are really into.
Oh, I love that.
No.
That's another thing about
No.
Eugen games. The plane crashing into the reinforcements. Yeah, this is always so
This, like,
hilarious.
never happens, and like just right now, live stream, this happens. This is a really tough pill to to hit from the right side, I think.
Yeah, really getting putting back into the center. This game is a great game, great back and forth, really showing the prowess of both teams, like, and also what you can do in WARNO, like how why you should never give up, and a great flanking maneuver from both sides at some point in these games have been made. But Red still, I would say, has the upper hand in the center for now. Though with two T80 UDs in this forest, Zubos might be able to overwhelm them here. As on the other side, we only have T34 and T62s. And the T34 85s, obviously, against the T80 UD, that's a really, really unfair fight. And, like, there's no way the T34 85s do anything in that matchup. And the T62 is pretty outclassed as well. So, yeah.
This is
BTR
really a nice game occurring.
coming in as well. Artillery-wise, we don't have anything just yet on the battlefield. But yeah, more Motostrelkis coming in, more TO-55s. Good old flamer tanks. Those can be nasty as well on this map. Yeah, had to realize that myself in one or two matchups as well, where I was running into them and I was without enough infantry anti-tank. It was just absolute Vietnam flashbacks with all the napalm and all the burns coming around.
Napalm and Vietnam flashbacks are certainly some things to get together.
BMP2 here holding the line. T80UD.
VT80UD is really a beast. It is a beast in Warno.
Yeah. 20 armor penetration, and especially the 21 frontal armor, the best in the game, is really, really tough thing to kill. And
It is the same feeling as the ES in SD2. I love the ES in SD2 because it feels like it is absolutely indestructible,
oh yeah,
invincible, and the TAD-UD is kind of the same thing in Wano.
yeah, that's a good analogy there. I love the T80UD. The IS2 is also always tough to beat. Yeah. And then you use your German Panthers and they get side shotted. Which is the side armor is the really cool thing about the IS2 for me in Steel Division. That even when they show side armor, light AT can still not do anything. That's all the German tanks when they showed side armor. They're pretty dead. And Blue actually got a CV back in here. Yeah, the T80UD gameplay here, absolutely vital. And, I mean, they destroyed us with that earlier as well, so let's see if they can do it again here. As the points are heavily in favor of the red team. Over 1000 point advantage, so Blue has to get some ticks on. Still 20 minutes of time, so still more than enough time to equalize here, but needs to do it eventually, and Red won't give it to them for free, as we see a hell of a lot of T-55s here coming in. That's the classic spam that you expect from these Germans. T-55s and BMP2s coming in together. But on the other side, another T-80U holding the line. And the MiG-31s, the best of the Soviet arsenal, all assembled here to try to stem the tide of the NVA man flood. That's one. Yeah, the TO-55s now coming in as well. Helicopters, I must say I have really fallen in love with helicopters. At the moment, I'm most likely still am more of a Steel Division guy, because I'm also more of a World War II guy, I guess, by heart, than a Cold War player, because I just know more about the World War II. But helicopters really were the thing that made me fall in love with one of helicopters.
I'm totally agree with you. Helicopters just redefine how the battlefield works, and that's impressive seeing how powerful could be an early rush and that kind of thing, or just sniping the precise tank on the precise point of the map with an helicopter. It's something that Wano thrives when it happens.
Nice. Yeah, we now get the artillery in on one side. The other side, having one Malka. Yeah, one big artillery gun sitting here. I'm surprised we still didn't see more Malkas so far, but more. Okay, second one is coming online now as well, as the center really starts to become the meat grinder that is to be expected out of it. But maybe not for long, because blue is pushing forward, and I don't know if red has the means anymore to hold them back. We have a lot of TO-55s backed up by the T-80UDs now rolling in here. That might be problematic. A really brave T-3485 coming down that road, but bravery is not what wins you the battle here anymore. It's not sword and shield time anymore. It's big explosives, and they ripped that T-34 to shreds. And there's 17 more minutes in this game, so yeah, blue has to now would win if they keep the +3 before the time limit hits in. That's 120 points per minute, so yeah, 12 minutes till victory.
That was honestly one of great flanking maneuver that the blue side did on the middle point.
Yeah, this was a
That's impressive.
really good play, and yeah, I'm now feeling better about losing to these guys. Like, yeah, losing to the winners always feels fine. So let's see if they can do it. But that looks really tough for red now to come back from. The disadvantage they're at here now is quite big. But woo, a T-55 getting a sneaky side shot into a TDUD that weakens the center heavily. T-80UD falling to the T-55A there, and that might change the things once more. Yeah, you shouldn't let your T-80UDs run around unescorted, otherwise things like this might happen. Combined arms is super important there. And yeah, that T-55A might have shifted the battle a bit, as the T-62 is now getting flanked by it as well. This T-55A, might it be the MVP of the battle here for the red team? Might that be the comeback of the comeback of the comeback? Or is blue still too strong with its push power here at the center? Books. Oh yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I love KDA. The Book AA system with its long-range AA missiles. An absolute beast as well. Real area denial. But we have T-34 versus T-55. In this fight, the T-34-85s at least can deal some damage, but they're still outclassed. So, with numbers and on short range, they might be able to do something here. T-55s actually dropping to them. We have another T-80UD in the center. Okay, no, there are more reinforcements coming in. A replacement T-80UD has been found. I guess the red team now suffers the same issues we had earlier. Whenever we killed one of those beasts, another one was already around the corner. And they might have to find another way, because relying on T-55s to kill T-80UDs is not the best way of doing it. Let's see if they can crack it, or maybe try to do another push on one of the flanks. As we have more red forces than blue forces around Hotel and Alpha. But that will be...
And do you think something is playable for the red side near Alpha, like flanking on the mountains of Alpha, getting to a hotel through the forest? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they're trying right now, isn't it? Yeah, some Motorstrahl keep pushing in here. And there's not that much defense here. Like, yeah, these mountain passes, it's always a bit of a slow push, because you don't have a road through there, but it can for sure come as a surprise. Once more, a recon helicopter has been put up here to help spot any of these kind of side flanks. But I don't think it quite spots the units down here. So they might be able to overwhelm the defenses here. If they can take out the AT guns, then maybe some tanks could roll through. And if you could flank them here, maybe reduce it to a +1, that game still might go into the favor of the Reds, though I'm not sure if they have bled too too much by now. And blue might push even deeper here in the center now. Like, red is really close to getting completely overrun here. They have to be really, really careful by now about losing any more forces in the center of the map. This will be tough. But oh my, okay, they sneaked no other unit is in the zone, but they sneaked a CV into the southern zone. But a bomber already on the way for it, and will be able to take it out.
Play.
And the OSA not quite able to get the second missile on target, so the MiG-21B will be able to get out. One of the most cost-efficient bombers in the game at the moment. Really fast. Not super heavy bombs, but just enough bombs to take out a infantry squadron usually, or a anti-tank gun. And that is what you want out of your bombers. Being able to take that out, that one soft target that blocks your flanking maneuver and killing that, and that's what these guys are perfect for. Same happening now in the north with taking out that push. Maybe? Oh, no, they're missing with the bombs there, so the Saparis and Motostrelkis get the shock of their life, but they don't go down in flames. They will be able to press on for now. But not quite enough force here, I fear, for a red team to really achieve anything major in the north. A bit more force would be needed around Alpha. Maybe a couple of T-55s or a helicopter to help out with that. But the artillery also has become silent, as it seems to be nearly out of ammo. Malka on the other side are around, but they are not firing. And a lot of... I'm not quite sure why this cluster bomber is... I guess it still has its bombs. I guess it lost its target. Let's see if this will find another target to strike here with its bombs in the near future. I love the SU... I don't know what it is about this plane. Like, it's not as clean as a MiG-29, which is the most gorgeous of the planes in the game in my eyes, but for some reason I like the looks of the Su-22.
I think it is all about the paint. It looks like kind of a wooden shark. I don't know if you you know what I mean. And yeah, it looks gorgeous. This camo, all of red and orange, is really cool to see.
Yeah, it sadly won't be able to get that lovely paint job again though, as it crashed into the floor after being shot down by an OSA, but it did its task, killing off some BMP-2s with infantry inside over here, stopping a counter push there, so task indeed is done for that cluster bomber. While it's in the center, the T-80U combo is still hard to overcome, and it seems like even though we have a 79th deck on the other side, there's not as many T-80Us in that deck. We mostly see T-80BVs, and they are a bit outclassed by the T-80Us. So Silver Crew has a rough time here breaking through the defenses of Zubos and Foxy. And we already see now attempts of trying to snipe the enemy CV with artillery, but wisely that has been repositioned out of this standard corner where you usually have your CV into a different spot where it isn't as easily found or sniped. And blue team now closing in on the red team's points, so red really needs to do something about neutralizing blue's tick once more. But this is
I think even just like if red team managed to contest a point, it could be enough to... I don't know. No, yeah. It is more than 10 minutes remaining. Red needs to counterattack, seriously.
Yeah, red will get a CV in here now, but only 30 points in favor, and there's still one T-80U remaining. They got rid of one more T-80UD, but one more T-80U remaining in here, and the air support of the blue side by now becomes really annoying for the reds. We were on the same end earlier. The blues team, they have a lot of air in their deck, also known as
Yeah,
Tunguska
we
settlers.
know that.
Yeah, so more AA for sure is needed here. Maybe some Tunguskas, maybe some more of the Book. Book, obviously the best long-range
That's
AA.
with this kind of match that you clearly understand the power that can constitute a good use of planes and warplanes, whether they be bombers or hunters.
Yeah, and the CV for Jane for now holds the center, but there's a lot of units coming for it. A hell of a lot of units. It tries to desperately run away, but there is no getting away from this, I fear. As the mountain doesn't have any forest cover for it, so it will be spotted by the helicopter. The Mi-8 is turning its rockets on the target now. And yeah, dies to the Spetsnaz. This is a heavy push here once more. KDA, Spetsnaz, T-55, T-80Us, a helicopter above it. This is good combined arms at its finest in a 2v2 game, and blue team really showing their prowess here. It looked pretty grim for them in the mid, like around the 10-minute mark, but the comeback around the flank was really, really well done. Yeah, I guess we're on the way to the end here. As T-55s hold the line against the KDA Schützen and the Spetsnaz. More units getting sniped here on the way in. The helicopters firing from the rear. Yeah, speed buff for the Adidas wearing Spetsnaz, obviously. I think Spetsnaz are already the fastest. Well, no, speed at the moment I guess is bound to veterancy, but as they're on 2-star veterancy, I guess they're already pretty fast rabbit. So the Adidas kicks are already helping them out. Yeah,
Need either a speed buff due to Adidas or either a close quarter attack buffed due to Adidas. One or the other.
it's for sure like a really nice detail on those Spetsnaz, those Adidas that they also wore in, like that they were
And which
really
is
fond of.
always based on real photos and shoots that we found with of Spetsnaz with Adidas. So this is something we deliberately did in an historical way.
Yeah, I remember my grandfather also, who was a captain on like cargo ships, also said that like when he was asked when he asked friends what he should bring them from the West, they always asked for stuff like Adidas.
That's fair.
Artillery hitting hard here.
But yeah, we found like footage, whether they be photos or videos of soldier with Adidas's, and some of these photos could even be like ads of today. You know, that's really impressive to see.
Yeah, Red is desperately trying to defend here, but we're closing in onto the end, I fear, as only 180 points to be ticked, and with a +3, that's only 1.5 minutes off time for the red team to at least stop the bleed, and I don't think that's quite possible anymore, as they also don't have a CV to get into the center in time. So I guess we have our two winners here on the blue side for the third Friday Night WARNO, as Red is desperately trying to get some more infantry in here, but there's still even some T-80Us here in the way. The Mi-8 rocket helicopter is doing a good job as well, so this is not looking good for the red team. And yeah, this was a really, really good game, and like all the games we saw today were fun ones. Our first one was also relatively close.
Yeah, in fact, I'm impressed that all the three games we saw, one we played and the two other we just spectated, were quite balanced, in fact, and that's impressive. That's cool. With attacks, counterattacks, and strategy needed to just try to keep up pushing and keep up advancing. That was interesting games.
SU-22 cluster nearly going down. And yeah, in the end, Zubos and Foxy win the third Friday Night Wano event. So, congratulations to them. Silver Gru and Jane, the runner-ups, doing really well for themselves as well here, taking out some of the favorites, I would say, with Nilla and Graham in the first round. So, impressive job there. And yeah, really, really fun games. So, hope you guys in chat enjoyed this as well, and I hope you had a great time as well with me here, sir.
Of course, that was a great tournament, a great talk I had with you and with several people who were asking some questions. So I'm delighted, and if I can, if my calendar allows it, I will be happy to come back for other events if I can.
Yeah, I would love to have you back. Like, I think today everyone in chat enjoyed their time as well. Yeah, thanks for giving us the insight once more into the inner works of Eugen, and like allowing us to see a bit more of what is going on when we and how we get our lovely maps that I think most of us are enjoying a lot. So yeah.
I like to speak about my job. If you like to hear me speaking about my job, that's a good thing.
So yeah, I guess we end it here, everyone. Thanks for coming in, and